Hi everyone, my name is Karen, this is my channel RatherBeReading, and today I'm bringing to you my January 2017 mid-month wrap-up. In the first half of January, I managed to complete a total of 9 things, which I'm really happy with. So let's jump straight in and I will talk about all 9 things that I managed to complete from the 1st through the 15th of January. So the first book that I completed in the month of January and in the year of 2017 was The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This is a classic children's story that I had never read. I have seen the movie of, I've mentioned this before. I absolutely adore the movie, The Little Princess, and I actually think I like the movie better. I think the things that were changed in the movie just made the story that little bit more touching. I did still really enjoy it. I thought that it was really kind of like heartfelt kind of story, but I did, like I say, I did think the movie was a little bit better. And it's that type of story that I think I probably would have enjoyed a lot more if I'd read it when I was younger. But as I said, I did still really enjoy it. I liked it a little bit better than The Secret Garden, which I have read from Frances Hodgson Burnett, and in the end I gave this one 3.75 stars. The next book I completed was If She Did It by Jessica Treadway. This is an adult thriller story that follows a woman who has survived a horrific attack in which her husband was killed. Her and her husband were attacked in their beds. As I mentioned, her husband did die. She survived. She does have a facial deformity as a result of the attack and several surgeries that she's had to have following on from this. Her daughter's boyfriend was convicted of attacking her and murdering her husband, and there are a lot of people who believe that her daughter herself was involved in the attack. The main character doesn't believe this, however she doesn't remember the details of the attack. She can't remember anything about it. At the start of this story, the daughter's boyfriend is granted an appeal, and the prosecutor wants the main character to testify about what happened, but she doesn't remember, so she is trying to remember what happened and whether maybe her daughter was involved, etc. This has a really great sounding premise, however it didn't quite live up to it for me. The writing just felt kind of a little bit clunky. It felt quite predictable, I thought, and overall it just kind of, it fell a little bit flat. I do enjoy thrillers, and it was enjoyable, and it was the kind of story that you can just get through really quickly, but it wasn't the best thriller I've ever read. In the end, I gave this 3 stars. The next book I completed was Career of Evil by Robert Galbraith, or J.K. Rowling. This is the 3rd book in the Cormoran Strike series, and I think this is actually my favourite of all 3 novels so far. I absolutely adore these characters. J.K. Rowling really has a knack for writing characters that you just come to completely adore, and I love them. They're like my family. Like, I want them to be happy. I want everything to be good in their lives, and I just adore them, and it makes me really involved in the stories. And as I said, I think this one was my favorite of all of them so far. I gave this one 4.25 stars. I did guess a little part like of the ending of the mystery of this one, which just made me be like, well done you. But yeah, I did really enjoy this. Highly recommend this series. J.K. Rowling just really does know how to write great characters, and it was a really enjoyable mystery. Highly recommended. The next book I completed is War of the Work Demons by Emily Rodda. This is the 24th book in the Teen Power Inc. / Raven Hills mystery series, and this one follows the gang as per usual, and in this one you get a bit more insight into kind of a rival gang of kids in the neighborhood who are also doing, I don't know if I've mentioned, I'm sure I have, but in case you've forgotten, this story involves a group of kids, this series, sorry, involves a group of kids who do odd jobs around their town. Like, they'll take kind of any job, cleaning, helping out, like doing whatever to raise money. And there is a rival gang called the Work Demons in the town as well, who are also trying to get jobs and make money. And so this one is about a war between the 2 gangs. And I really enjoyed the insights we got in this one into kind of the friendships in the gang of our main 6 characters and how they are all really, really different, but what makes them work as friends. I really, really enjoyed that. It's not my favorite of the series, but I did enjoy it, and I gave this one 3.5 stars. I really apologize if you guys can hear my washing machine right now. My washing machine goes through like a crazy spin cycle when it's getting towards the end, and I have to film this now because this is the only time I have to film today, and I need to film 2 videos, so I apologize if you can hear that. The next book I completed, I listened to on audio, and that is A Lady at Willow Grove Hall by Sarah E. Ladd. This is the 3rd and final book in the Whispers on the Moors trilogy, which is a historical Christian fiction romance series. This one was just kind of exactly what I expected having read the other 2. It was pleasant, kind of boring, very predictable, but fairly enjoyable. In the end, I gave this one 2.75 stars, which is the same rating I've given each of the books in the series. The next book I completed is The Black Key by Amy Ewing. This is the 3rd and final book in the Lone City trilogy. I had kind of mixed feelings about this. This is very, very short. This is less than 300 pages, and I feel like that was one of the problems that I had with it, was that it felt kind of rushed. I don't feel like the story that was being depicted in this one was as fleshed out as it could have been, and I just don't feel like we got anything new from the characters or from their relationships, and we didn't just get any like further development. I did enjoy it, but as a finale it was a bit of a letdown. In the end, I gave this 3.5 stars. Next, I completed The Golden Lily by Rochelle Mead. This is the 2nd book in the Bloodlines series, and I really, really enjoyed this. I really enjoy the slow burn forbidden romance that is going on in this series so far. I've been really, really enjoying it. I did feel that the plot in this one is not as strong as the plot in the first book, but I thought that the characters and the relationships were better in this book than in the first one. So I gave it the same rating that I gave the first book, 4 stars. I'm really, really enjoying this spin-off series to Vampire Academy, and I really hope that I enjoy the rest of the series, and I'm really looking forward to getting to book 3. Next, I want to talk about Melt by Celine Castrovilla. This is a book that I was actually approved for on NetGalley, so thank you to NetGalley and the publishers for approving me to read this one. This is a dark contemporary romance. That's basically, there's not too much plot to this. It really is just a dark contemporary romance. Unfortunately, I really didn't enjoy this one. I really didn't like the writing style. I found it very, very hard to connect with. This story also has possibly one of the worst cases of insta-love I have ever read about. These characters have literally met each other like 2 times. They've literally basically barely spoken, but they are completely infatuated with each other, and I just found that so frustrating. At one point, the male character is telling the female character about all these horrible things that he's done in his past, and she is just basically thinking about, oh, look at his biceps. Like, it was just a bit ridiculous, and I just really couldn't get behind the romance because it was so insta-lovey. This book also, I'm not sure if you can tell from the cover, but it does have some connections to The Wizard of Oz. The author does say in the synopsis, I believe, that this is not a Wizard of Oz retelling. However, I don't understand what the purpose of the Wizard of Oz portions of the story were for. At the start of each kind of part of the story, which I think there are 3 parts if I recall, we get a quote from the Wizard of Oz, and the main female character's name is Dorothy, but again, she makes it very clear in the story that she wasn't named after Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. Those parts of the story were just very confusing. I didn't understand what the purpose of adding in this Wizard of Oz element. They didn't have any connection that I could see to the plot whatsoever. It was just added in there for what purpose, I'm not really sure. In the end, I did give this 2 stars. I could have probably given it a 1 star, but I do really appreciate the dark subject matter that the author was attempting to deal with. As I said, this is a dark romance, so it follows the male lead has come from a very horrible background, basically. He has an abusive father who abuses but his mother, and he's been in horrible situations, and as a result of this he has fallen into kind of, you know, drinking and smoking a lot of pot and things like this, and, you know, he's gotten into a lot of fights, he's been in jail, just, you know, things of that nature. And I appreciate what the author was trying to do, and so that's why I gave it 2 stars, but it really just didn't work for me. And the final book that I completed in the first half of January was Kingslayer by Virginia Boker. Now, I didn't realize that this series was a duology, so this is actually the final book in the duology. I actually had some reason in my head thought this was a trilogy, so I was really excited when I picked this up and realized that this was actually the completion of the series. For those of you who don't know, The Witch Hunter is it's kind of a fantasy, well, it is a fantasy story, but it is set in an alternate 15th century England where there is magic, and the main character is a witch hunter. She's one of the king's best witch hunters. However, at the start of the story, she is found with witches' herbs in her pocket, which are illegal because they are acts of magic, and magic is illegal in this world, and so she is sentenced to death. However, while she is in prison, the, you know, land's most wanted wizard meets her, like comes to her in the prison, sneaks in obviously because he's wanted, and says to her that he will break her out of prison if she will agree to help him break a curse that has been put on him. So the story just kind of kicks off from there. I really enjoyed the first installment. I did enjoy this one as well. I felt not as connected to this story as the first, and I think that's just purely because of the delay. I read the first book when it came out, so it's been about a year since I read that, and now I'm reading this one, so I just didn't have that connection to the characters that I probably would have had if I'd read it, kind of like if I'd binge read it, but I did still really enjoy it. I really enjoy the romance that is happening in this story. In the first installment, we have kind of a slight love triangle going on. However, there is no love triangle in this second installment. Everything is kind of put to rest in the first book, and in this book we just have the romance, and I really appreciated that they didn't drag on a love triangle throughout both books. I thought that was really great. I do enjoy all of the side characters and stuff as well. I did really enjoy this, but I just didn't feel quite as connected to it as the first book. One main problem that I had with this story was that a character was made to be a sympathetic character in this, who is not a sympathetic character in the first book, and obviously he's made to be one in this installment, and I felt like it really kind of cheapened some of the messages that I found that I took out of the first book, and I felt like making this character a sympathetic character in this book did slightly cheapen those messages, which was quite disappointing, but I did still really enjoy this. I say I really enjoy the romance, side characters. I think it's a great duology overall. In the end, I gave this one 3.75 stars. So those are all of the books that I read from the 1st through the 15th of January. I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, if you have any thoughts, or I'd love to chat with you guys about how your 2017 reading year is going so far. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. But that's all I've got for this video today. Bye guys.